Did Powerless on NBC from DC Comics ever happen? Did this ever, exist? I'm not talking about, aired 3 episodes and was canceled. I'm talking about, did this ever happen? This is issue number 13. Series premiere February 2nd, 2017. I know for a fact it's not on the air now. So, but I don't ever remember, seeing advertisements for it or, I don't remember this actually. I remember people talking about it. I remember the idea that there was going to be a show about people that didn't have superpowers in a world of superpowers working at, an insurance office or something, but, I don't remember this ever happening. We'll see if I even use that. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another comically long review. Issue number 9 left us with a cliffhanger of Tommy and Billy being transported to the world of the mysterious Lord Drakkon, and issue number 10 gave us a nice character flashback for Billy, where we learned more about his quest to become more brave as a Power Ranger. But with that character flashback aside, it's now time to jump right back into the plot. So let's take a look at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, issues number 11, 12, and 13. The standard cover to issue 11 is chilling. It's Billy and Tommy standing on a beach and looking out into the ocean where they see the Megazord, clearly defeated, stabbed directly through the face, and rusting from disuse. The main variant covers this time focus on Trini, and I actually really like this one. A shot of Trini walking alongside a saber-toothed tiger, while the nature around her forms into a picture of the Yellow Ranger. We start with the Rangers reuniting with their families, having told them that they were on the other side of the bay when it was closed off for safety, and they lost cell phone reception so they couldn't call. There's, of course, 2 exceptions to the reunions, as Tommy's mother talks to the police, and Billy's mom talks to somebody on the phone. We then get our first look at where Tommy and Billy are. Welcome to historic Angel Grove, with large stone statues of Rita Repulsa and the Green Ranger. And seriously, the perspective shows us that these statues are as large as buildings. We're talking about Statue of Liberty here, except maybe the precise opposite of Liberty. We see a building very similar to Rita's Moon Palace, as an announcing voice calls Angel Grove the center of the new Power Coalition and final Earth home to Rita Repulsa, who brought order and structure to Earth by defeating Zordon and his minions. The time is now 8 p.m.
Do you know where your children are?
A curfew is in effect, everyone ordered to their homes. Tommy is quite confused, something that Billy can understand. Billy uses his knowledge of popular time travel theories. Billy, you watch Doctor Who. Just admit it. I mean, heck, the TARDIS is blue. There's an in for you. Anyway, he theorizes that they've crossed into an alternate dimension, the future of their own dimension, or maybe both. Until they figure it out, they agree that they should keep a low profile, so of course they're immediately spotted by a Black Ranger? He's wearing the Black Ranger armor, but it has additional flourishes, a ton of pouches, and he's carrying a machine gun. He asks to see their IDs, but Tommy tries to talk their way out of this. He starts to buy it, but then sees the dragon dagger sticking out of Tommy's jacket and starts to arrest them. Billy kung fu chops the dude and they run. Tommy asks Billy if he knows where they're going, and he says they're right near Angel Grove High. They get there, and it's now a cross between a mind-washing facility and freaking Alcatraz, contained to an island and now called the Finster Memorial Correctional Facility, molding the minds of tomorrow. They contemplate what to do next when the Black Ranger catches up and starts shooting, and remember, these are bullets now. Tommy says their best bet is to jump in the water, so they go for it. And then 3 more Black Rangers show up, and the main one says that they should contact Lord Drakkon. Billy and Tommy climb out of the water and basically say it's time for them to keep exploring. Back over in the main universe, in the Dark Dimension, Goldar is meditating when Rita shows up, demanding to know how Billy escaped. Goldar lies through his sharpened teeth, saying Billy had a secondary teleportation device that the Black Dragon didn't find when he searched him. He says he tried to stop him from escaping, but he holds up his shackled hands to show that there was nothing he could do, supposedly. Rita looks as if she doesn't believe him, but she really has no proof that that isn't exactly how it went down. Goldar changes the subject, asking about the Black Dragon. Rita says he's gone, but his involvement pushed the Rangers to the limit.
Everybody to the limit. Who's that? It's to the limit. Everybody come on forward, guys.
So they need to press their offensive. She has come to give him a second chance. The Rangers have moved the debris of the Black Dragon to the Pocket Dimension for further study. You might remember that a few issues ago, Trini had said the Black Dragon seemed to use components of the Dragon Zord. The more she studied it, the more it seemed that way, so she checked on something important. Its CPU. She points out it's the same as the Dragon Zords. Kim thinks she means that it was copied, but no. It's literally the same CPU. The one that is inside the Dragon Zord at this very moment. So that's kind of impossible. They piece together the fact that Black Dragon is from some alternate universe, or time travel, or some kind of shenanigans. The comic once again uses the Rangers wondering where someone went, or where they came from, to transition to where they went or came from, namely Tommy and Billy. They find something that seems pretty different from their time, a pile of dead Zords that they have never even seen before. These are the Thunder Zords, including Tor, but clearly they didn't get the job done. Billy points out that there must have been a fierce battle, and a voice says it was very fierce indeed. They ask who it is, but the voice won't answer any questions until they come help him. Tommy realizes that it's coming from beneath the command center. So, the power chamber, and heads down there. The voice is stuck behind a door, and Tommy manages to pry it open and finds Saba. Saba, which if you don't recall was Tommy's weapon as the White Ranger, meaning this Tommy hasn't met him yet, introduces himself. Billy asks how it's going, but then things are not actually going all that well. A squadron of airships has found them. They try to run, but get pinned in by the Black Ranger grunts, and out of one of the ships steps Lord Drakkon. Drakkon welcomes them to his world, but says sadly their time there is going to be very brief. Tommy puts on the classic tough guy act, we're not backing down, we're the Power Rangers, etc., etc. If Drakkon thinks they're just going to lay down, he's got no idea who he's dealing with. Oh, but he does. Much better than Tommy might think. For you see, you're just my lesser self. Yeah, this isn't really a huge surprise anymore considering how late I am to reviewing these, but at the time it was an incredibly major reveal. Lord Drakkon is Tommy, seemingly an older, somewhat battle-scarred Tommy. I gotta tell you, sometimes these comics feel like a sports car that has absolutely no trouble going from 0 to 100. Last issue, a calm, simple little backstory about Billy, and then we get to this issue and bang! Tommy and Billy in a dystopian Ranger future, and finding out that Lord Drakkon is an alternate version of Tommy Oliver. I will say that the other Rangers don't really get to do all that much this time around, although we do get Trini having a nice intellectual moment, which she was sorely lacking from previous issues, about figuring out that the Black Dragon basically is a rebuilt Dragon Zord. Issue number 11 gets a 4.5 out of 5. None of the variants for issue 12 are really worth discussing, honestly. There is a weird one with a giant Rito Revolto attacking the city while the Ninja Zords fight him, but none of that has any context to this comic, so anyway, the main cover is awesome. It's Tommy holding up Saba with a reflection of the Tiger Zord. Tommy is wearing green, so this is more in context to this story, how Saba is a reflection of a possible future. Billy points out that with Tommy facing what appears to be an older version of himself, the modern day can be ruled out. Drakkon orders the two locked up on the ship and says he'll finally have Saba for himself. However, the Sword has different plans. I just said the words, the Sword has different plans. As Saba summons the Tiger Zord. I think it's kind of tore up. One shoulder doesn't seem to be pointed the right direction, and it just seems to have a lot of battle damage. Cleverly enough, activating the Tiger Zord was a distraction. Drakkon orders his soldiers to fire on it, while Saba leads Tommy and Billy away to the Falcon Zord. It's also torn up, but Saba assures them it will fly, and they make their escape. We then get kind of a pointless scene, to be honest. It kind of looks like the students at Angel Grove High have been gathered in the gym with Billy's mother speaking to them. They're telling the students the two are missing and to keep their eyes open. It might really happen, but is it something we needed to see? We already know their parents are concerned. Back to Rita's base, now on Earth, planted in the wreckage of the command center, just to remind you. The minions welcome Goldar back, but Rita tells everyone to shut up. She points out to everyone, since we've already seen her say this, that the Rangers are weak, down 2 members, and now is a great time to attack. Finster says he's been working on a massive sculpting effort, but needs some special things that only Goldar can provide. Why? Because Finster is making a better Goldar. Back in Drakkon's dimension, the Falcon Zord lands in the woods. The Rangers wonder if it's wise to stop, but Saba says that they have to. The Falcon Zord's fuel cells have grown weak, and it can only travel so far at a time. Besides, they're almost to where they're going, so the Falcon Zord will cover them tonight, and tomorrow they can make their hike to find the Coinless. The Coinless are a resistance cell to Lord Drakkon, and these woods belong to them. Saba says in the morning they go to find the Coinless and join up. Neither of these Rangers is really up for being drafted without their consent, saying they don't know anything about these people. Saba realizes that, oh yeah, these two still have no idea what's going on. And we finally get the backstory. Up until the Rangers freed Tommy from Rita's spell, things were exactly the same as what we know. But once they did, that's where things diverged. This universe's version of Tommy Oliver did not join the Power Rangers, feeling much more shame about what he'd done, and ran away from them instead. Rita found Tommy again, and this is a story that I mentioned in one of the annuals, and made her pitch without using magic this time, that the world was basically broken and needed to be destroyed and rebuilt. And whether it was his disenchantment with the status quo or the allure of more power, Tommy ultimately decided to stay loyal. They started a campaign to take over the world, lasting years. Cities were destroyed, and world leaders started capitulating. Hey, there's those world leaders giving in like I said they would. As her reach grew, Rita got more popular, people supporting her message of uniting the world in order and peace. And before anyone says that the people of the world would never rally behind a villain like Rita Repulsa, I would advise you to take another glance at the 2016 United States presidential election, and I'm just going to leave that there.
This will be a plan where you can choose your plan. And you know what the plan is. This is the plan.
With Rita's power growing faster and faster, Zordon decided that there was only one chance left. He created the powers of the White Ranger with the intention of giving them to Jason. Meanwhile, the forces of evil were making their final assault on the command center, and seeing as Saba calls this the eve of what would be known as the fall of the Rangers, we kind of can get how that ended. A makeshift ranger squad, joined by the Alien Rangers and the Phantom Ranger, also having the Thunder Zords, Tiger Zord, Tor, and the Falcon Zord, face off with Tommy, Lokar, Pumpkin Wrapper, Scorpina, Goldar, a ton of putties, etc., etc. In the command center, Ninjor assisted with the White Ranger powers. They tried to get those powers transferred to Jason, but they were too late. Tommy busts through the wall and gets inside. He offers Jason one more chance to join him, but Jason of course refuses. The Rangers keep trying to fight, but then Tommy emerges holding Jason's cracked helmet and wearing his new suit. As I said in my Hyperforce reviews, Kyle Higgins, the writer of the series at the time, was a guest on a session of Hyperforce that took place in the Shattered Grid dimension. During that session, he explained that at this moment, Tommy killed Jason, destroyed Alpha, and even found a way to slow bleed Zordon so he would die without creating a Z-Wave. Also, as the suit makes pretty clear, Tommy took those White Ranger powers, and they somehow melded with his Green Ranger powers, creating a suit that is both the Green Ranger and the White Ranger. Saba was still designed to be the partner of the White Ranger, but when Tommy broke in, Zordon basically teleported Saba to the power chamber and sealed him inside, asleep until a force of great goodness approached, which is what happened when Tommy and Billy showed up. As you might expect, Drakkon makes Tommy doubt himself. He was already shaky about the evil he did as the Green Ranger, and now to learn in another future he becomes an evil despot, maybe he is just destined to be evil. This is interrupted, however, by the two being captured in energy rings. By whom? That would be Trini, Aisha, and maybe Bulk? It's a little hard to tell. Issue number 12 is a bit of a plot dump, with a large chunk of the issue just being Saba catching us all up on what the heck is going on. However, what a story to get caught up on. I think I've mentioned this before, but with Power Rangers normally just being so lighthearted and positive, it was such a refreshing change to finally get a Power Ranger story that was this dark and twisted right off the start. It was just so amazing and fascinating to see how one tiny little change, really, Tommy didn't even decide to be evil at first. It's just that he didn't decide to join the Power Rangers right that second, could lead to such a butterfly effect situation with such massive changes in the story. Issue number 12 easily gets a 5 out of 5. Issue 13's main cover is pretty neat, featuring the full team of Green Rangers fighting Goldar and Rita. But the one I like a little better is the Retail Incentive Morpher foil cover. It's a chest shot of the Green Ranger reaching for the Dragon Dagger. It's awesome. We start off with Finster working on this new version of Goldar. Interestingly, Goldar is out of his armor. I don't think we've ever gotten to see that before. Finster somewhat creepily comments on how amazing the structure of his body is. He has a snarky response, questioning the idea that Finster thinks he can improve on that. But Rita asks, "Isn't that what collaboration is all about?" I thought collaboration was about doing a video with another content creator so you both get more views and your channel would grow. Finster has himself quite the little attitude in this. Goldar kneels when Rita comes in, but she tells him to get up so Finster can keep working on his model. He says it's fine, he's had the form memorized for a while now. So why has Goldar just been standing there on a lazy Susan? Well, sculpting can become such lonely work.
Lonely, I'm Mr. Lonely.
Goldar asks if Rita thinks this is really the best way to make use of him, but she butters him up a little. She's giving Goldar the army that he's always deserved. Though if he wastes them, more permanent changes may be needed. Finster runs out of clay, goes to get more, and finds something shiny.
Yes, this is it, and oh my god!
Slam cut to Tommy and Billy, who are being led away at gunpoint by Bulk, it is Bulk, Aisha, and Trini. They lead them to Zack, who is the leader of this rebellion. He tests Saba by asking him what the last thing he said to Zack was. "I told you I would return one day with those who would save the world. As promised, I have returned, Zack." Nice statement and sentiment, but when did this happen? Saba said he was sealed under the command center during Drakkon's invasion. Zack was outside at the time and wasn't the leader of anything. Zack opens a holographic door, leading them inside what looks like a massive refugee camp. Pretty major touch of indulgence though, as one of the first things we see is a massive Mastodon power coin symbol. Zack says the Trini will lead the two of them to quarters and they should get a shower and get settled. Trini questions Zack, but he says they clearly weren't with Drakkon at the command center, so he believes Saba, especially since they need this. Billy asks if Trini is okay, but she's clearly uncomfortable with him being there, and this frame serves as a nice artistic demonstration of the tension between them. We cut over to Drakkon's palace where he's going over the situation with his generals. There's a very attractive pink-haired yellow sentry here. But unfortunately for her, Drakkon blames her for the escape of his two visitors, revoking her powers, painfully, and telling one of the soldiers to tell Jax that he's now a yellow sentry and getting command of their unit.
This hell is not my home.
Then we see Scorpina. Drakkon's Scorpina? No, the one we're familiar with. Well, I mean the one from the comics that we're familiar with, not the one from the TV show. Or the one from Hyperforce. Who would have thought that a character that the TV show literally forgot existed would get so incredibly complicated? Anyway, she says she was somehow pulled into his world when Black Dragon moved the other direction. She's cavalier with Drakkon, calling him Oliver and saying she doesn't serve him, but Rita. He's actually fine with this, saying he'll find a way to get her back to her own universe, and he still plans to help Rita take over her universe, just like his Rita took over this universe. But first, they have to address the issue of these Rangers, and Scorpina points out he means his doppelganger. Drakkon calls Tommy a pale imitation, her universe's mistake. Besides, these new interlopers may be solving two problems at once for him, as Drakkon is able to track Saba through his connection to the grid, meaning he now knows where the coinless are. After taking a pants-to-be-darkened look at Drakkon's army, we see Skull asking what's going on. Someone tells him Drakkon has finally found the coinless, and he looks concerned. But let's go get some nice tasty character development for the Rangers. Kimberly checks in on this universe's Trini, and it still throws me seeing her morphed as a Green Ranger, who is studying the Black Dragon and seeing if it has keys to finding Billy and Tommy. Kimberly suggests she take a break, but she declines. Kim walks over and sees Zack and Jason training. Zack begs off, needing a minute, and Kim and Jason talk. The training was Zack's idea, a way to stay ready and blow off some steam. Jason is troubled by what Billy and Tommy being missing is doing to their parents. It's made him think that maybe Tommy was right when they were fighting, that he could be a better leader. Kimberly tells him to stop that, and besides, this situation has opened her eyes to some things as well. Jason realizes what she's implying. She's into Tommy. I love his reaction. Well, that's exciting. She doesn't see a way it ends well, but he encourages her. This is all going to end just fine. And she says that is why he is their leader. Character development complete. Alpha 5 reinitialized plot. He calls the Rangers after days of being quiet, but says in that time he's found a way for the Rangers to get inside and reclaim their actual powers. Another slam cut back to the coinless universe. I've already mentioned this, but there's gotta be a better way to transition back and forth. As Billy walks around the base, he overhears people talking about him, saying he looks just like their Billy. Well, duh. And even how they think it's in poor taste for him to have dressed just like his counterpart. Why would it be in poor taste? Where is the other Billy anyway? Yeah, you might have put this together by now. Billy steps into a room and finds a memorial. To himself. He goes and finds Trini, asking her how Billy died, since none of the books inside talk about it. She says that he died a hero, saving her life. This leads to an even worse transition, as we see Drakkon fighting Zack at the Battle of the Command Center, with captions talking about how Drakkon was picking them off one at a time, but they wouldn't give up. Credit to the comic as it answers the question I asked earlier. Saba was outside the command center during the battle, talking to Zack before Zordon teleported him away. That is an excellent bit of filling in the gaps, 100% kudos. Anyway, that leads us to see that it was Zack narrating this, explaining things to Tommy. It really seemed like this would have been Trini explaining things to Billy, even if the captions were purple. Bulk comes rushing in, saying that Skull got him a message that Drakkon has located them. I don't recall if this is something I've mentioned before, so I'm going to mention it here just in case. Skull is actually a coinless secret agent working within Drakkon's forces. He's actually seen, but not named, during the Hyperforce crossover as he helps the Rangers and Lena escape. In stereotypical fashion, this warning is just a moment too late as Drakkon's forces have arrived. Cut back to the Rangers, who have finished discussing their plan with Alpha, who says he's ready for them to arrive and he's excited to see them. And unfortunately, this is not Alpha. Finster has reprogrammed Alpha, able to basically use him as a soundboard to say whatever he wants him to. The Rangers are being led directly into a trap. And that trap is an army of Goldars. I've mentioned this a few times already recently, but as I've been reviewing these Boom comics, they have just been a case study in excellent pacing in a comic story. Yahtzee of Zero Punctuation recently said in his review of the Spider-Man PlayStation 4 game that slower points in a story are necessary for pacing, and that's the case here. Every so often, Boom will just take one of these issues and put in very, very little action and just a whole bunch of exposition. But that's not nearly as boring as it sounds because this is an excellent story, and establishing big chunks of it all at once allows the action sequences that we do get in other issues to actually have some meaning. Basically, every character in this story gets significant character development in this one issue, and that is quite the accomplishment. Issue number 13 gets a 4.5 out of 5. Next time, we'll continue to follow Tommy and Billy's adventures in Lord Drakkon's dimension and see how the Coinless deal with the invasion of their mortal enemy by taking a look at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issues number 14, 15, and 16. But for now, that's going to do it for another comically long review. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for watching. In the comments below, make sure you let me know what you thought of these 3 issues, as well as my review of them. And while you're down there, make sure to mash the thumbs up button, letting me know that you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to see all of my videos, and ring the bell. Get your notifications set up so you'll be notified of whenever I post brand new videos like these comically long reviews. And if you want to lend any financial support to my channel, there are 2 ways that you can do so. The first is to head over to ko-fi.com/OrangeRangerVideos. You can buy me a coffee, that's set at $3. But if you would like to donate less or a different amount, you can also head over to digitaltipjar.com/OrangeRangerVid. Toss whatever tip change in the jar you'd like, and I will greatly appreciate anything that lands inside. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. The cliffhanger of issue number 9... We see a building very similar to Rita's Moon Palace as they announce... Anyway, he theorizes that they've caught... They piece together the fact that... They piece together the fact that Black Dragon is from some alternate dimension, or time travel, or some other short of... gosh, fart! They piece together the fact that Black Dragon is from some alternate dimension. The comic once again uses where the Rangers wonder where the farting fart. They ask who that is, but the voice won't ask any fuck. The other Rangers don't really get to do much, but oh shoot, that means this is over. He created the powers of the fart. And seeing a As I said in my Hyperforce reviews, Kyle Higgins, who was the writer on this, As I said in my Hyperforce reviews, Kyle Higgins, the main writer for the series at this time, was a guest on a session or 2 that took place on... He was only a guest on one, creating a suit that is both the Green Ranger... This is interrupted by Finster runs out of clay, goes to get more, and finds something shiny. It's a giraffadil! Kimberly checks in on Trini, and it stills throw me. So, in classic fashion, this morning... But for now, that's going to do it for another comically long... Oh, shoot.